Hey everybody, so welcome. This is our first podcast episode, and I'm joined with Abriana today.
Hello.
And today we've been getting this hit for a while to start a podcast and just, I guess, kind of start to share and speak from an authentic place, and just see what comes in for us to talk about. So today, we wanted to talk a little bit about, well, our connection to Gaia, to Mother Earth, and I guess how important that is. So, I don't know if you want to say anything else before we begin. Anything else what we might talk about?
I was just thinking maybe just a little bit of background about how we met and kind of what has transpired up to this point, because it does feel very magical to me. So,
That's okay. um, well, I'll let you start. You can start. How did we meet?
yeah. So, Aaron and I met on a platform called Activate Evolution, and we were two of the youngest people on the platform. And I forget exactly how we got working together individually, but I just feel like from the very first time that we spoke individually on Zoom, there was just this kindred connection, kindred spirit,
Mhm.
just it just felt so familiar and the frequency was always so high. And I guess just like connecting with you was always like one of the highlights of my day. And so yeah, and I know that, since the beginning of our Zoom long distance relationship, because I'm all the way over in the United States and you are.
In England, yeah. So,
So I just feel like, yeah, it's been really special, and we've been able to kind of share about how it feels being where we are in life at such a young age. And that's been something that's near and dear to my heart, is kind of speaking up and speaking out authentically about kind of how it feels to be going through, being a spiritual being in a human existence. So that's a little bit about it, I think.
yeah, that's a really good point. And I also want to bring in as well that we both have that sort of, and saying this with no attachment, but this part of us that feels connected to the stars, and connected to the earth. I wanted to bring that in because I said to you before that one of the things I heard when this sort of idea came forward for us to sort of collaborate was how a huge part of it was supported by the star aspects of ourselves. And I just wanted to make sure that they're also brought through as well.
Yes. Chills. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And so something that Aaron started bringing to my attention was like this concept of our connection with Gaia. And I remember the very first time we ever spoke, we both did speak on being earth signs,
Mhm.
of how like important, and the positives and challenges both that come with it. But recently, you've really been drawing my attention so much to Gaia, because I do a lot of like what I consider space magic, and what something that's been really missing in my life recently has been this connection to grounding that um,
Mm.
into the earth and into Gaia, and really finding this connection with her. And so that's been really important for me. And I just feel like everything that you have brought up about it um, would just help so many people out there to kind of like developing this relationship. And yeah, so
Mm. Yeah, and then just filling into everything you said. And I think like it's important that we maybe if we talk about, well, I will talk, I'm sure we'll talk about why it's important to have a relationship with Gaia, but maybe we can share about what our relationship with her has been so far. So what it's been like even, when we were little and up to where we are now and where we're wanting to go. If you want to start, or I can start, I'm totally fine.
I love that. I love that. You go ahead because I'm getting some ringing. So go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think, right, when we come into this like human body, come to Earth, right, I think it takes time for us to really get into our bodies. And it's funny, I think I said this to you, it might have been a week ago. This feeling like I don't know if I fully landed completely in my body. So obviously when I was young, I would play outside and all this, all this fun stuff like with nature, but um, being very sensitive and everything, it was really uncomfortable to be in my body. I would feel everybody's stuff, and you know, I think I've shared this with you, but my experience at school and everything was really hard on me. Like I didn't feel very safe. And I did, to be quite honest with you, was very sort of like, well, I didn't want to ground. I didn't want to be in my body. And also with technology as well. Oh my goodness, technology as well. It's like, because I grew up with, I was one of those generations where I got maybe the first sort of 10 years of my life, technology wasn't crazy. But then the sort of like my teenage years, probably from like 11 onwards, that's when technology was like really big. And just like reflecting on how that caused such a stunt on my connection to Gaia. Um, that was kind of like my early experiences, basically not very connected, not feeling very in my body. What about you? What was it like for you when you were young?
I got lots of chills while you were speaking. I mean, it was very similar for me. There was a
Mm,
lot of stuff going on around me that I didn't feel like dealing with. And
mm,
so, as a child, I feel like it's so much easier just to essentially leave your body. Um, before we have the coping mechanisms, quote unquote, of whether they're good or bad coping mechanisms, we do have other stuff later on, but essentially, um, when I was a child, I always felt so my biggest connection to Gaia would be to her oceans,
mm,
the fish, the whales, the dolphins. It was like my one happy place when I was a child, I remember, was the aquarium. We would go almost every day.
mm.
And I would just always say, the fish are my friends, the fish are my friends. And I still to this day say that, I have a very strong connection with them, but kind of just that water element, which I can almost attune to, or like kind of like relate it to my chart too, because I have very little water in my chart. So it's almost like needing that kind of, because I have so much earth, I needed the opposite. I needed the water to ground me,
Mhm,
essentially.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, I remember feeling very safe there. But then when I was in my day-to-day family, society, situations, very much not wanting to be in my body.
mm,
I kind of had the same experience as you, getting older and getting into technology, um, and call it what you want, but to me it was an escape. It was a dopamine hit. It was,
yeah,
any way to kind of, you know adjust to be in a different state of consciousness.
yeah.
um, but yeah, when I was younger, when you were talking, I was reminded of this story that my mom tells me about how I was really little and I was playing in the dirt and there were all these fire ants and they were like all around me and I was just playing with them and they were
Mm,
just like crawling up my hands and up my legs. And I just remember, she always told me that like it totally freaked her out. But to me it was so safe. Like
mhm,
there was no harm that was going to come to me. There was nothing. I had no fear,
mm,
and when we're young, before we learn, not to touch the hot stove. That's how things can be sometimes, where it's just like, I am so fearless, And then I feel like it got like that kind of fearlessness got deprogrammed out of me. And now I'm kind of circling back around to it finally, like, hooray.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, feeling and I think that that's why it keeps coming through so strongly, just to focus on authenticity, because
Yeah.
it's not the victim mentality of, oh, I didn't fit in. It's not
Mhm.
you know the woe is me. It's just, objectively speaking, I wasn't like the rest of them, and that's okay.
Yeah.
um so yeah, so that was my kind of,
Mhm.
that's what I got.
Yeah. And I know that we've spoken a lot about um, when we see a lot of people of well, a lot of people from our generation, and how interwoven that sort of like technology, or as you said earlier, like escapism stuff has been like, yeah. How, I know you've said this before, but what have you like noticed with the people around you in your generation, like not out of judgment, but just like what have you noticed? Because I know we've spoken about it before, and I think it's important to sort of um I don't know, just share what we're observing and what we're noticing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again, right? That addiction is the epidemic of our generation.
Mm,
And I fully believe that. And it's not, it doesn't have to be to substances or alcohol.
mhm,
I think it's just this addiction to a dopamine hit, to feeling any other way than how we're feeling. And that
mm,
is what I went through myself, going through college, high school into college, after college.
mm,
And it wasn't until like I really started pulling myself back into myself that some of those tendencies faded away. But it's what's coming to me is never again Atlantis, right?
mhm,
Because like this concept that I've noticed with technology is that everyone is totally using it to avoid dealing with their real life,
yeah.
avoid talking to real people. I mean, especially once the pandemic hit. I mean, I live literally on a college campus,
Mhm,
and I used to walk around on that campus a lot. And, you would have all kinds of different people, and everybody would say hi. I mean, I live in the South, so that's not unheard of. Everybody would say hi and, wave and stuff like that. And I can't walk down the street, let alone into a store these days, without seeing someone with their earpods in on their
mm,
phone and just completely ignoring everything around them. Um,
yeah.
and again, just from pure observation, I've really seen a huge decline in the amount of connectedness.
Yeah.
And with so many of us waking up, we're striving for the unity. We're striving for the connectedness. And I
Mm.
think that like we're doing here now, that technology can add to that. It
Yeah.
can add it, but it just
Mhm.
depends on how you use it, and really just being honest with yourself.
Yeah. Mm. It's okay because like, what I realize is I can edit this, so I can like take a second to sort of like breathe and think about, okay, well, what would be next? Or I might keep this in, who knows? I don't really care. But I'm just I'm just like feeling into, well, what, because we have spoken about this topic so much.
Mhm.
Mm. Well, I can talk about some of the things that I've learned about grounding and connecting with Gaia. Um,
Perfect transition. Yep.
okay, let's do that then, because I'm still exploring, because like it's one of the things I find the most. I don't know if it's the most challenging because there's more challenging things, but I just I've just had to do a lot of work around this because it's like I used quite a lot of, it's like I called it mental gymnastics, where I would go into my mind to avoid what I was feeling, and just like in general what my body was kind of trying to tell me. I would go into my mind and just go into all these different places. So yeah, so let me think. And maybe you can share some things as well about what's helped you so far with grounding. But yeah, I made a video about this, and one of the main points my guides told me around this was that grounding is a feeling sensation. It's not like, and this is okay, I want to be careful with my words. um, for me, imagining roots going into the earth doesn't ground me. It really doesn't ground me because it keeps it up in the mind for me. So one of the things my guides said to me, and what has been my experience, is that yeah, grounding is a feeling, it's a sensation, it's the feeling into your body. Um, and that was pretty big for me when I realized that, because when you Google how to ground, you'll get like people talking about, yeah, imagining roots into the earth or going and putting your feet on the earth. And I want to say that those things are good, but if you've got a very active mind and you've got a lot of anxiety, you can just carry that straight out with you into nature, and it didn't really help you that much. At least that's what I've noticed for myself. So that's like the first thing that I felt has helped me. What about you?
I love that you just spoke to that, right? Because this is something that you and I have talked about, is that there's no perfect equation. There's no do steps A, B, C, and then the rest of the alphabet will just magically appear. Like, no, it's just going out there and trying different things, seeing what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And also, I'll speak to the grounding aspect. I used to think, oh, whenever I would like read about it or read over it, I'd be like, oh, like I would almost be like exasperated by how much I've heard about it. And
Mhm.
I have to remind myself that that's just the staircase that I'm on, right? That like this information was very valuable to me at a certain point.
Mhm.
And if that information is still out there, then it's still able to be valuable for a bunch of different people. And that's amazing.
Mhm.
I love that. So that's why I super love what you were saying there, because yeah, some basic ways to ground. Walk on the ground without shoes on.
Mhm.
See roots growing out of your feet into the earth.
Mhm.
Um, go and lay in the grass and just like close your eyes or stare up at the sky. These are all, I think my favorite is walking on the beach barefoot though, because then I
Mhm.
get to tie in the science of the ions.
Yeah.
Which that works for me.
Mhm.
But I want to take it deeper. I want to take it to the next level. And what kind of stuff have you experienced that actually works for you, that actually gives you this sense of being grounded
Yeah.
in?
I just want to say I just loved everything you just said because it just created such a beautiful bridge. Especially, and I will get to what you said, but I just wanted to speak on and just highlight that piece around how unique we all are. Like, oh my goodness. It's like, I just think it's so true what you said, where it's like certain things work for certain people, and you've really got to know what works for you. I just think that's so important that you said that. So yeah, thank you. For me, the things that I've been, I was talking with I know you know Gabriella. She's in New Zealand and she's an amazing lady. And I was talking with her and I was talking to her about grounding, and one of the points that she shared with me, which I thought was really beautiful, and it's what I came to her with because uh, something that we've both been journeying with is trying to clear all of the separation. the program of separation in general. So that program that we're separate from Gaia in any sort of way, that our bodies are separate from Gaia in any sort of way, it is, in my opinion, not helpful, and doesn't leave us feeling great in general. So I guess one of the things that's helped is that remembrance and integrated knowing that my body is Gaia, that what I'm hearing coming in, I was meditating with Mother Earth a while back, and she gave me this practice that really helps for me. I don't know whether it was her, who knows, right? Who knows what's going on? But let's just say for now, Gaia spoke to me, right? She spoke to me. And she said, breathe with me. And I was like, oh my goodness. So as I breathe, I breathe with her core. It's like if Gaia is breathing in and out, I'm breathing with her in that rhythm. And it's just like that rhythmic connection to her breath, to her being, and recognizing that that's within my own body. That's one thing that's really helped me and was kind of gifted as a process that I could use, because it's still for me connecting to that feeling state of the breath moving in and out of my body, and it's not separating everything. Yeah, so that's one thing that's really been deeper, because again, for me, grounding in a deep sort of way is connected to the feeling sense. But again, that's just me. Yeah, let me see if there was anything else. Yeah, and I also got told to breathe with the trees as beautiful sort of allies. They showed me one time, they just showed me as a tree, and I'm like, I know people have probably seen that many times before. They're like, visualize yourself as a tree. And but for some reason that really helped me to sort of anchor in that reality in a more tangible way. I guess that combination of the visual and the feeling maybe works for different people as well. But yeah, those are the main things for me. What about you? Have you found things that are sort of like taking you in a deeper path with grounding?
I like that. I like what you just said. It was so beautiful. I could see a symphony when you were talking about that, like between you and Mother Earth, essentially just like these frequencies that are so harmonic. And then I saw like you know how when you take sand and you can put it on a surface and play a different music and it'll make different shapes, like that's kind of like how I saw your field interacting with Gaia.
Yeah.
So that was such a beautiful visual and very helpful. I'm definitely gonna give that a try. Um, just experience that. Yeah, well, for me, I came back to earth magic. So, um, earth magic was something that I started practicing back in 2016 when I was, as I like to say, getting into all the things, really going down the rabbit hole. But it felt very natural to me, and kind of got away from it for a little while, and then it started coming up just earlier this year, and I got called or drawn to working with herbs and in different ways, fire magic, air magic, it is the essence of earth magic. Um, but yeah, so kind of just working in that way. And that was kind of, it's so funny when, when I look back on how this whole thing has kind of shifted. I started doing that without really understanding why or what I was doing, right? I just was called to play with earth magic again. So I started playing with earth magic. Not really realizing as the time progressed, that it would show me, hey, this is why you've been getting back into connection with Earth, because there's something bigger here.
Mm.
And it is Gaia, and like the essence of Gaia has been speaking to me very strongly for the past several months now. I mean, I know, she's been there my whole life, but for the past several months now, it's been just really loud and undeniable. But yeah, so trying to think if there's anything else. Like I said, the beach really does help me, and I don't know if it's again that kindred connection with the sea life, or but I just really, when you talk about grounding in the feeling sense, like
Yeah.
that's when I can really experience it, is when I am on the earth at the shore,
Mm.
at that space where the land meets the ocean, is just like being on the edge of the world,
Yeah.
and really just that is what gives me that feeling sense of really truly being grounded.
Mm. Mm. So what I was feeling coming in next was just like, so whoever's going to be listening to this, right?
Right.
Whoever it's going to be, especially young people, I just feel it so strongly. Um, what, how do we connect a bridge for young people around all of this? Because I know it's beautiful to talk about it, and I'm just kind of thinking about like how we engage like younger people of our generation to connect deeper with Gaia. Like obviously everyone has free will and everything, but I'm just like, how do we help people? Um, yeah, do you get what I'm saying? I can't completely put into words what I'm feeling.
Oh, I feel it though. I totally understand. I'm totally there with you. I'm there with you because it's like turning words into action.
Mhm.
Like realistically, how could this help you in your daily life?
Yeah.
Because yes, talking about it is fun, but essentially, I think just the invitation, I think first of all, just showing up. I
Mhm.
think just showing up, we've been called to do this, we've been called to put it out there. And so no matter what, we did what we were called to do. We have,
Mhm.
and I think that that's really powerful.
Mhm.
And with that, I think just the sharing of our experiences, for me, my intention behind it is to just allow people to see, a vulnerable, authentic side of myself that says, hey, I felt like I was alone. I felt like I was alone no matter what group I tried to join, no matter, what label I put on myself. I felt like I was alone.
Mhm.
And that's my biggest point here, is just to let people know that they're not alone. And so I brought in the point to let people know they're not alone. And this is where the collaboration comes in. You brought in, they can connect to Gaia.
Mhm.
So essentially, we're getting the word out there. We're inviting them in to play with Gaia, and then giving them ways in which they can do that. I believe that is the bridge.
Yeah, and when you were talking, I was yeah. What I heard, which I had it earlier and then it disappeared and it just came back. I just wanted to bring in that piece for, yeah, because okay, most of us, right, we don't want to connect with our bodies or Gaia because of all the things we feel and all the things that is uncomfortable. We don't like the world because, we see certain things and like, oh my gosh. um, I was just really feeling Gaia's like motherly energy just like running through my body just as you were speaking. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to talk about this. you know, I hear so many people say this, and I'm just going to speak because there's a frequency. It's like, she is our mother. Oh my goodness, she is our mother. And it's like, she holds such unconditional love for each and every one of us. Like the people that have felt like that they can't connect with anyone, that they feel like, as you said, alone. It's like sometimes it feels like such a huge stretch to connect with people. Um, for individuals, right? It can be difficult, and it's like I'm just feeling like Mother Earth's unconditional love for all of us, you know. And that just, I'm so glad that that's come forward to be brought through because the frequency of it is just incredible. Like, and then I think, oh my goodness, how did we even function not connected to her, you know, or in the feel like the illusion that we're not. It's like she's like a yeah, that beautiful, compassionate, nurturing, loving force, you know. Yeah, that's really beautiful. So we were just kind of feeling that maybe we can bring through like a little activation, a short sort of guided meditation and light language, just to help everybody with grounding as well, right? I think that feels good. So I'm going to let you start, Abriana.
Awesome. So, yes, thank you. Sorry, real world traffic out there. Okay. So essentially we're just gonna kind of lead you through something just to practice everything that we've talked about in this episode. So if you would like to place your hands on heart or leave them in your lap, whatever feels good to you. We're just gonna start here with taking a couple deep breaths. And here we're really just going to go into the body. We'll start by feeling the breath. Feel it on your nose or on your mouth, in your chest, wherever it's most prominent. And we're going to go a little deeper and connect to our heartbeat. Just feeling our heart as it's beating and moving blood through our entire system. We'll just start at the top of the head, feeling our scalp, our forehead, relaxing the eyes and the jaw. Just feeling into our neck as we move down into the shoulders. Really feel into the shoulders and allow all of the stress and all of the tension to melt away. Feeling down through our arms, into our chest. Connecting back in with that heartbeat. Moving down through our abdomen. Focusing in on our solar plexus and just allowing whatever we're feeling to just be there. Just experience it however it shows itself to you. Moving down through our sacral and into the hips. Further down through the tops of the legs, the calves, and all the way down to our feet. I always like to take this time to thank our feet. Now just be with your body, everything in your body. I'll turn it over to you, Erin.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to speak just a short intention because I'm going to bring through some light language. So I'm just setting the intention that what I bring through today for all those that are listening is in alignment with their personal mission, with their ascension path, and is in alignment with Source and Gaia. And then what I bring through ultimately comes from love. Okay, so I'm just going to connect in. Here. Obarara sineta torri anatata oi anato oi sine atu di ena aro oi sine na taro so do sidi sina data. Una da saruru sidi di ai di wana to di ya shato to ekidi. Upa di buju to budi al sina to oi sini di popo ki da so to e kanata shuto de weki. Ipopo di bude besidi po nada na so te kyo sada waka. So just breathing in those beautiful fairy codes. Just going to see if there is any other pieces to come in to assist people with grounding. Ombaresikina. Sobekana de siti wo nikiti shita. Omakate shinatata soki. Mate taranaki tori anasaka. Me barane ka siki no to shiti wana. Me nara sikina mombe ranahi. Sakiana rarasa. Mako ni sakani. E samari ana. Meki nara sanoko. E banaki nara saki matatori ana. Kina bina maranahi. Sabekana sikina namana manoa mahana. Mekanara sakina mahana mahue. Sobenara imana koneti. Kambenara sinara moki. Tonetashite wanaki. Utne esiki anasa. Badena kasahi. Kone shiti wanaka. Mokina shiti. Omakanaha. Sebane kihi. Mahane sika. Mate shiti winaha. Kiebana sikina. Mane sawa. So just breathing in those grounding codes. Okay, there's one more piece that wants to come in. Okay. And this one is going to be from the elves. Se Mariana Hiana. Ome tani saka hina. Wone halana. Menanasi. Kome nananaha. Semekana. Towe narasi. Motena sakanehe. Wa benasati. Kone rasaha. Mate shatiwana. O metanaso. Kiena rasa. O metanesiki. Tomera rasa. O ne tarananahi. Beautiful. So again, just breathing in those codes. Knowing that you're so supported in the remembrance of your connection to Gaia. And then we say, thank you. I love you. It is done. It's really funny. The fairies were first. That makes me laugh.
I loved it. They all had such different frequencies. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Well, with that, I hope you all receive something today that supports you on your path. That is our intention, that what we're bringing through is in some way going to assist people, and also so we can share authentically. So thank you for listening and receiving us. Is there anything you want to say before we end, Abriana?
Just thank you.
Mm.
Thank you to the divine and to all of our support here today. It's just felt incredible. So yeah, I just send my intention out there to that this may reach who it is meant to. And yeah, thank you for sharing this space with me today, Erin.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, I'm wishing everybody a beautiful day, and we will see you in our next episode. Okay, goodbye.